Is happy to go onto the Trebuchet, and Chris is going to drive the tractor for us so we can actually launch a projectile out of this machine this afternoon. Now what would normally happen is we will put 4 men, 2 in each wheel, onto the machine. They are the same wheels as you have in medieval cranes. This was the last real flowering of the Trebuchet. It meant that you could use men to crew your machine. You didn't have to pull that arm down using horses and oxen. So what would normally happen is you have 2 men in each wheel. The rope, instead of going out the back and being attached to the tractor, would go the other way and be tied to the central axle between the 2 wheels. The men's walking action would tighten the rope around the axle, which would pull down the arm and lift the counterweight. The counterweight weighs 6.5 tons. So 4 men can actually lift that incredible weight. Right. On the arm there is a metal hoop about 3 bars up from the hook end of the arm. It's a crucial moment coming up. That hoop will have a trigger pushed through it. Below the trigger, our Trebuchet master will push in a metal pin so the trigger can't fall back, and he'll also lock on a safety chain. He's just lining it up now. It's not easy to do when you've got the tractor. It's a lot easier when you've got a crew in. There it goes. Lock the trigger in, push the pin in, goes round the back and locks the chain on. That is all to make sure that this machine doesn't launch itself. That would be extremely bad. Right, this machine, like all the best trebuchets, is made out of oak. English oak, if you can get it, and this one is English oak. Why oak? Well, oak is very slow growing, makes it very strong, very dense, and of course very heavy. All characteristics you want in the framework of this machine. Trebuchets are not locked down to the ground in any way. They rely on their weight and the rigidity of the oak to give the stability of the machine. So that is our choice. The arm, though, isn't made of oak. The throwing arm is made out of ash. Now, traditionally, you could use either, but ash is better. You see, ash is a very whippy, forgiving wood. You can make longbows out of ash. We want the same characteristic as a longbow in that throwing arm. When Nick pulls that trigger and unleashes 6.5 tons of raw power, that arm accelerates at an incredible rate. As it goes through its arc, we want it to flex as it does so, like a bow, and then flick the projectile off at the end. This means we get more speed, and if we get more speed, we get more power, we get more distance. So that's why the arm is made out of ash. But there is a price to pay for that. The oak in this machine will last 50 years at least. The ash arm has already had to be replaced after 3 years, but we think the extra performance makes it worthwhile. Now, if you're going to transport trebuchets all the way to London, and I said trebuchets, not trebuchet, because you never use one of these machines on their own, because that would be useless. You need dozens of them. So as others are being loaded, others are being shot. But how are you going to get 22 tons of war machine all the way to London? Do you put wheels on it and push it? No, of course you don't. That would never work. No. Trebuchets are designed to come to pieces. When you build one, you don't use any glue and you don't use any nails. It's all tension fitted together using dowels and wedges. And when you put it together for the first time, you carefully mark every single piece of timber so it can be matched up again. So you put your trebuchet together, you test it, happy with it. knock it to pieces. Take the 320 separate parts and either load them onto wagons or, better still, onto barges on the river. Send them off to their destination. On arrival, the soldiers can unload all those pieces of timber, look for the markings on them, match them up and put the whole thing back together. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, these things were probably the first flat-packed item. Just like that kitchen you got from IKEA, but a little more interesting and a lot more deadly. Now we test trebuchets by shooting a 15-kilo rock out of them. 15 kilos. Now this machine is designed to shoot 10 times that weight. But 15 kilos will do to test the machine. But if you're sieging a town or a castle, it's not only rocks you shoot out of these things. Oh no. You can shoot much more interesting things than rocks. One of my personal favourites, animals. Yes, animals. But dead ones. Something that's been dead for a few weeks. Leave it out in the sunshine so it's all bloated and horrible. If you can get them, pigs. Pigs are fantastic. They're so aerodynamic, they fly beautifully. Get a rotting pig, load it into your trebuchet, pull the trigger. Send it over the wall of the castle you're attacking. In it comes, doing 150 miles an hour, straight into the central courtyard, splat. Rotting flesh goes everywhere. Smells disgusting. Medieval germ warfare. That's what we're talking. That's got to be bad, isn't it? And what if that gets into the water system? If you haven't got fresh water, you're going to have to surrender. Brilliant. Fire, that's another good one. And the best fire of all, Greek fire. Greek fire is a mixture of fuel and pitch. Mix it together. Put it in huge earthenware jars. Put a fuse on top, light it and lob it straight into the castle you're attacking. But this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, we have a treat for you. This afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to shoot a fireball.
Hey.
Yes! Fantastic. The fireball is one of our 15-kilo rocks. It's been wrapped in hessian and soaked in a fuel mixture all afternoon. It sits in the middle of the machine and it looks like Nick is about to load it. Taken from the container and placed into a wooden trough which runs down the middle of the machine. It has a chain and a piece of rope attached to it. It goes onto the hook at the back of the machine. The loader gets out of the way and Nick steps up and takes off those all-important safeties. First of all, he removes the chain and then takes the pin from below the trigger, making the machine live. He gets off of the machine, puts on a helmet to protect himself from the rigging, takes a rope which is attached to the trigger and stands well back. Orders the lighting of the projectile which sits in the middle of the machine and it starts to burn. Now he must hold and wait. Released too early, goes out too late and his trebuchet is on fire.
Whoa!
There she goes. Burning all the way. Absolutely brilliant. Ladies and gentlemen, the Warwick Castle Trebuchet. And can we please have a big cheer for Chris and Nick? Brilliant. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Not our normal